We have been inundated with remakes in entertainment, and when it comes to video games, the remake that's been in the back of everyone's minds is Silent Hill 2. Will this end up being a complete and utter disaster, or will it be half decent? Well, now that the ESRB rating is appearing online, we all can have a little bit more hope that this could be a success. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, I've had to talk about the Silent Hill 2 remake a couple of times on the channel because we've seen a few showcases on it. The trailers have not been met very positively, and people have been extremely worried with some of the things that the development team has been saying about it, but the ESRB rating is now appearing online, and it's actually got me a little bit more hopeful because of the description of the content that's in the game. It says Silent Hill 2 Remake has earned an M for Mature rating, as it will feature the blood, violence, and sexual themes that are expected for the horror franchise. Fans awaiting the game's release are hoping for a return to form after a lukewarm reception to its combat trailer, and Konami's comeback may hinge on the success of the remake, which sounds promising based purely on this description. Now, right off the bat, it getting an M for Mature because of blood and gore, language, sexual themes, violence, not very surprising. I think we all definitely expected it to be getting an M for Mature, but it's really the rating summary that makes me feel a little bit more hopeful. Because we have heard over the past couple of months some very questionable things, like it aimed to be faithful but would adjust scare factors for contemporary audiences. We also had gotten the combat reveal trailer, as the article mentioned, that definitely was not met with a lot of positivity, but as it says, this is a horror adventure game in which players assume the role of a man returning to a mysterious town while being tormented by his past. From a third-person perspective, players explore the town of Silent Hill, interact with characters, and battle humans and creatures like Pyramid Head, mannequins, monsters. You use pistols, guns, rifles. Not very shocking. Combat is highlighted by realistic gunfire, cries of pain, and blood splatter effects. But here's what I think we were all the most worried about were some of the illustrations. It says illustrations depict further instances of violence and or blood and gore, characters getting impaled, a character suffocated to death with a pillow, enemies with body parts sewn together, and the game does contain some suggestive and sexual material, like characters pole dancing, in a strip club setting, posters of women in revealing outfits like bras, thongs, deep cleavage, dialogue alluding to sexuality and or sexual abuse and misconduct, and it does also specify that there is going to be some swearing in this game. Now, of course, these are all descriptors that you want to see in a rating summary for a game like this, that there is going to be blood and gore and violence and sexual, themes, and also dialogue that isn't watered down. But obviously, this could have had M-rated themes, but been severely watered down, which has definitely been the worry that they were going to water down the content, because we recently had heard that the Silent Hill 2 remake aimed to be faithful, but would adjust scare factors for contemporary audiences, aka they were going to be in some way, shape, or form, it sounded like, watering down content for modern audiences. Even though the modern audience doesn't exist, it's really just companies listening to sensitive snowflakes on social media. And of course, these rating descriptions are actually very positive, but there have been so many bad remakes between ones that have already come out, like the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition trilogy, which people were, less than happy with and underwhelmed by, or the million Last of Us editions we've gotten, and then future releases that sound questionable, like the Witcher 1 remake that removes, quote, bad and outdated aspects. We have the KOTOR remake that's been in development hell, the Resident Evil remakes, which have been mostly good, even though they've featured censorship, same with Final Fantasy VII and censorship, but this game definitely looks akin to a Resident Evil and less like a Silent Hill, and obviously they have a lot of overarching elements. They've got a lot of similarities. But when the combat trailer had come out just a few months ago, people were a little bit upset because it really did look like a copy and paste of the Resident Evil remakes that we've been getting. It just kind of seems like they have almost traded off the unique elements of Silent Hill in order to make something that could be, let's be honest, more sellable to the mainstream, to a normie who might not want to deal with the camera angles that Silent Hill originally had. And while, yes, the story may be the same, in a lot of ways, hopefully in 90% of ways, it does seem like they went with a more mainstream, third-person shooter vibe for this game, which, yes, I mean, didn't go over that well with people. 38,000 likes to 35,000 dislikes, so it's neutral, but it's very quickly approaching a ratio, or at least a negative ratio. And of course, when it comes to this Silent Hill 2 remake, I don't have much confidence in Konami or Bloober Team, but hopefully they really took feedback from previous projects and will do their best to create a scary Silent Hill experience. These are the types of descriptors I'd expect to see, and definitely give me a lot of more hope going forward. Will it be what we deserve after everything we've already heard about it? I'm not sure, but we can at least be hopeful, which is definitely what I am trying to be at this point. Again, we had heard not even that long ago that with the Silent Hill 2 remake, developer Bloober Team has shared some hints about what was to be expected, and they did say the fact that we're developing a Silent Hill game is an honor and a dream come true. But longtime fans shouldn't worry about us missing the point while we're livening up the title. We faithfully stick to the traditional story canon while remaking the gameplay and updating the graphics. As you can see, we're not straying away from the original concept of making this cult classic. We just have some ideas on how to make the peculiar scare factors more appealing to the contemporary audiences. And you might say, that doesn't sound all that negative, and it's not like we have some giant red flags, except for the fact that Bloober Team is doing this, and Bloober Team has created some pretty mediocre games like The Medium and also Blair Witch. But if they did really try to listen to audiences and look at the feedback over the past few years surrounding any sort of horror video games that have released, there is a chance that this still could turn out to be good. But recently, Silent Hill has not been in the best place. We had Silent Hill Ascension releasing and being slammed as complete garbage by players as the microtransactions sparked backlash. People were not happy with the weekly releases and the cast of characters, also the microtransactions. So I am really hopeful that this will turn out to be decent. I don't want this to come out and for it to be complete and utter garbage, but we still have a long way to go. There's not an official release date still for it, but now that there is an ESRB rating, I definitely think that we are going to get it by the end of 2024. That's at least my guess. Only time will tell, but yes, we do have the rating summary. It is an M for mature, and right now, I think that there is a lot to look forward to, given that this rating does not appear to, at least in my opinion, point to watered down content. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.